Council will vote next week to adopt a new budget, and while the city's budget is all about looking ahead, there's a component that requires a look back at the history of a building that became a destination to the stars of days gone by.
Inside Tyler's historic Mayfair building, the sound of progress has replaced the sound of the foot-stomping music once played here. Music from hitmakers like Johnny Cash, Tammy Wynette, and a young fella named Elvis Presley. After its heyday, like so many historic buildings, the Mayfair fell into disrepair.
Termite damage, water damage over the years.
But since the winter, crews have been hard at work restoring the Mayfair for public use, from uncovering the old stage to reviving the hardwood dance floor.
We have a company that we've sourced the wood from in Dallas, so we'll be using that.
Now, when it comes to the old Mayfair dressing room backstage, the idea is to preserve this as a place to remember the stars that were once here, including the king of rock and roll himself, Elvis Presley, who once looked into this very mirror.
Our goal when you come to this area is to be able to come to events that completely utilize all of the space.
The Mayfair project is part of a larger vision through which the city hopes to create a space for visitors surrounding the new convention center, including Tyler's international claim to fame.
We do need to carry the momentum over into the existing Rose Garden Center so that we update that building and the finishes in that building so that this is one cohesive complex.
The money set aside to make all of this happen comes from overnight guests using the hotel-motel tax. And by putting that money into projects like this, the city hopes to attract more people and more spending.
They spend money in small businesses, our restaurants, our bars. They go buy retail, they buy gas. So they really impact our community tenfold when they're visiting. So the more visitors we bring in, the better off we are in terms of economic spending in our area.
And along with funds to finish the Mayfair project, the city's tourism budget sets aside $100,000 to draft plans for the renovation of the Rose Garden Center and another $100,000 to embark on a 5-year plan to convert the rose beds from rail ties to stamped concrete. City is also bringing back the position of Parks Tourism Manager to help manage the complex.